Hello, and welcome. I am just grabbing some other decks as usual. I was sitting there thinking I didn't have enough decks. Like, just right away, what am I doing? What's wrong with me today? So I am going to message that I am live and I'll be doing readings for the group. I was going to talk a little bit today about the fall, and then I realized that we did that last week. So I was like, oh, probably shouldn't do that 2 weeks in a row because that is kind of boring. So I decided we would talk then about the thinning of the veil and how this time of the year, whether it is something to do with, the energy force of the earth, or how the sun hits everything, or something that we're just really not aware of as humans, that we can figure out what the reasoning behind it is. I'll probably look that up. So if somebody wants to put that on the notes in the comments or whatever, of course you can do that. That would be great. Today I decided to bring over my Botanical Inspirations deck, which is usually a springy kind of deck. It's got, I actually bought it so that I could use it as a kind of flashcard system to learn the meanings of plants and flowers. And so it's a really pretty deck. Let me just let some people know that we went live here. I should send my email list a notification when I go live too. Hey Mom, hi, how you doing? Hope you're doing good. So I was just showing people about this deck, this Botanical Inspirations deck that I have, that I used. I wanted to get it as a way to learn the different flower meanings. So, like roses are love, and daisies are simple, like usually simplicity and love, but like they have just a lot of different types of flowers that are very common, actually. And a lot of times too, people will do, you're doing good, glad to see that, glad to hear that. So people will include cards in their readings. Yeah, people include cards in their readings all the time, but people include flowers in different bouquets in order to portray messages. And so back in the days when people kind of flirted in very low key and some symbolic ways, then the people would use flowers as symbols. So yeah, sure. Tracy, do you have a specific topic that you'd like to talk about today, or do you want me to just pull a card and tell you what it says for you? Let me know. And of course, if you like coming in here, does Jay miss you? Can't stop thinking about him. Now, interestingly enough, I'll just see what comes up here. Jay doesn't seem to be the most assertive kind of person. And I know that, you're wondering if he's thinking about you and probably what he's thinking about you. The Emperor coming up reverse shows me that he might be thinking a lot about you, but he's not going to reach out to you. He's not going to make the effort. And if you want somebody who really is a stronger personality, or somebody who you feel like takes the lead in the relationship, seeing the Emperor reversed is showing me that perhaps Jay is not the person who would embody those characteristics. Why not? That is just from this. It's just his personality. He's not like that. Some guys are very assertive, and some guys will go the extra mile and, reach out to people, really let them know that they're there and they're thinking about them. He's just not that kind of person. So like I said, if you are looking for a person who is more assertive in a relationship, who takes charge, who, goes that extra mile, then Jay might not be that person for you. Sorry to say it, Tracy. So hope that helps. Hey, Druvo Hossein. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. So let me know if you want me to pull a card for you. And yeah, I was working with the Botanical Inspirations card as well. And these are just, like dahlias right now are super, my aunt loves these. So if you ever see Aunt Dottie, she loves these. And they are dignity. A wise man has dignity without pride. A fool has pride without dignity. That's interesting. Especially when the Fool card was sitting here. Druvo, let's see. Usually yes and no kind of questions are interesting with tarot. So we'll just see what comes up on October 10th. So the Empress comes up reversed, so I'm thinking this is definitely a no for you, because when the Empress is upright, it means that something bears fruit. It comes to fruition. But when I'm seeing a reversed, I'm thinking that you're probably going to need to get more stuff done in the background. Like, it's not going to happen because it's not ready to happen yet. So I'm going to say that that's a no for now. Yeah, the Empress, if she were upright, I would say, yeah, that's totally going to come to fruition. It's going to come to pass. It's going to manifest. But when it's reversed, I would say, nah, not going to manifest. So sorry about that. But you will be, it does look like there is going to be some movement in your life, and you will be walking away from a situation that isn't serving you. So, continue looking for options while you're waiting for your visa to go through. Okay, Druvo? And it might take you some time, but don't lose the faith with that. Okay. So one of the things that I like to do and teach you're welcome, Druvo. Sorry, it couldn't be a positive answer for you. But one of the things that I do and that I teach in the Seekers group is about, looking at the symbols that come up in your life, because a lot of times you're going to be, you're not going to have somebody who's going live and doing free readings, or you're going to be like, please, can I have a sign? What's going on here? And so it's a good idea to learn what different signs mean. Or for example, like I've been thinking about the angels lately, and this is just like this continuous drama inside my head. Anyway, so been thinking about the angels lately, and then I pass a car that says 444 BF like this. And it's so funny because 444, if is an angel number. And then it's like best friends, so it was just kind of funny that I saw that, and I was thinking about angels and everything. So that was an interesting thing. But anyway, as I'm walking, as I'm thinking about different strategies or different things that are coming up in my life, then I want to be open to my higher self, my spirit guides, my angel team, any kind of messages that I'm going to receive. And so learning how to read what flowers you come across, rose, for example, we all know that rose is a love, a flower of love. The roses also have thorns. They're not only beautiful, and they're not only, they're sometimes very delicate and require a lot of nurturing in order to have them fully come to their highest, to be healthy and bloom a lot, except my roses, seriously, like they're blooming like crazy. Or forget-me-nots in the springtime, eternal memories, of course. I think my mom's dad's favorite flower was forget-me-nots, if I'm remembering correctly. So, and then Camilla, destiny. So people in olden times used to use flowers. Yeah, it does depend on the color of roses for sure, Asen. Like, if you're going to give a person friendship is yellow, kind of romantic but innocent love and friendship. You can do like pink or orange. Um, Passionate, lusty is red. So yeah, definitely does depend on the color of the roses that you give. Um, Good thing to point out there, for sure. So I did get these as kind of a way to learn the meanings of flowers as kind of like flashcards. So if I am in a position where I wanted to get, give me a sign, please, and I see a specific kind of flower or something like that, then I know, oh, I saw a asters. And so this is wanting me to be patient, for example. Or I'm trying to think of, if you see a snail, for example, you're thinking about, do I need to speed this up or slow it down? And you see a snail on the ground, you're just like, oh, okay, it's a sign that I need to slow things down. And right now, too, sorry, I shuffle like out of, I don't know, habit. I have a deck of cards in front of me. I'm going to shuffle them. So, and a lot of times when you're looking at symbols, you're looking at flower symbols, you're looking at animal symbols, you're looking at, signs or trees or whatever. A lot of times they're going to be the same, they're going to retain the same meaning across different environments. So for example, if you see um, a window of a store that has a bunch of roses and you're thinking like, um, if Tracy, for example, or you're thinking about somebody is like somebody thinking about me romantically, and you look up, which this has happened to me before, not this specific thing. You look up and you notice, oh, there's a florist next to me and there's some roses in the window. And you notice that they're yellow roses and not red roses. Then you could say, perhaps this person just wants to be friends and isn't interested in a relationship at this point in time. And I really think that a lot of times, leaning into a friendship is actually a good thing. Hey, Tulika, sorry. Hi, welcome. Let me know if you want a card and if you have a specific question. And so going back to that idea that symbols retain their meaning across different formats, and working that into a space where you're using, you don't need to have a deck of cards in front of you at all times to receive a message from your higher self. You can, what I do is really open up to receiving messages, and then I trust, like if I see something that I know, like right looking at it, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a message, then it's a message. And I don't double guess that. I don't say, can I have a messagey or message, and that's like kind of like that 444 has been popping up like everywhere. They're just like, talk about us. So I think that's really funny and interesting. But anyway, I was going to talk also about the Lenorman deck, because there are symbols within the Lenorman deck that I feel like are very archetypal, or I don't know if you would call it specifically archetypal, because I usually associate archetypal energies more with like people and stages of life that people are in. But these are just like pure symbol meanings, like you get to choose, you're at a choice. You're at a crossroads where you can pick one option or the other option. fish are usually good luck and prosperity, especially financial prosperity. So like if you're that was crazy. One day I'm walking by this little pond that's in our area, and I think I've told this story before. And I'm thinking about this idea um, for my business, and I'm thinking about like standing out and making myself more of an enigma. Like if you watch Halston, for example, the movie Halston about the designer Halston, or you watch like these transformations, Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie kind of thing, and you understand that they made a almost a caricature of their personality in order to stand out and rise above the crowd. So I was thinking about a concept in this way, and I'm walking by this pond that I've walked by like 1,000 times, and I've never seen a big giant goldfish in there until that day. So I see the big giant goldfish, and then next to it, kind of in the water, there's like a little, I don't know, somebody threw some bread in there. And then I see, like, you had to look really hard, but you could see like 1,000 little, not 1,000, but a swarm of little mud colored fish, like eating on the bread. And so, how distinctly and golden that big fish was standing out from the crowd compared to those little fish that were kind of camouflaged, even though they were there and there were many of them, was such a huge symbol to me, and such a huge, like ding, 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 ding. This is a sign for you, Sue. So anyway, that's kind of funny. So you'll have these situations, you'll have these circumstances where you'll see something, even though you've been to a place 1,000 times or walked by the same place, or, that are definitely a sign, like that. It couldn't be a signier sign than that. So, and Toluca, if you're still here and you want a message, let me know. I will pull one for you. Um, or thinking about a snake and the symbolism, almost visceral symbolism for some people, and timeless, almost 2,000 years old. It's even a snake in an apple tree, which, goes back to that sin from Adam and Eve, and, a snake in the grass and hidden dangers, and, watch out for venomous people around you, things like that. Um, these kinds of overarching themes that are associated with things like snakes or mice, for example. I'm looking at the Gilded Reverie, Lenormand, by the way, just to let you know what decks I have with me today. So the Gilded Reverie from that, the Botanical Inspirations, and then I just have a standard Rider-Waite tarot deck today. Interesting. So, for example, then mice are definitely like small nuisances that can cause a whole bunch of problems, as problems that compound themselves. They're also thieves. So if you see a mouse come up, when you're thinking about something, when you're thinking about somebody's character, when you're thinking about what will the outcome of this concept or idea be, and then a mouse comes up, you're like, ooh, that's going to eat away at my resources slowly over time. So just thinking about things like that. And whoever is here, the second person, if you want a card or you want me to pull a card for you, let me know. Storks are an interesting one because we see them a lot here. They actually migrate here from Africa during the summer season, and then they are supposed to migrate back during the winter season. But it's definitely a sign of like travels, for one thing, and also abundance and prosperity. We also, it's super cute in my village and in a lot of the villages in Austria and Germany. If somebody has a baby, then they put a stork in the front yard of the house, and sometimes it has like a little doll baby hanging out of it. And then when the baby is born, of course, then they either dress the baby that's associated with the stork in blue or pink so that you know what the person had. So I think it's cute, and that a new baby is in the house. So um dogs, loyal, stick by your side, very, I don't want to say charming, but yeah, just, unassuming, innocent, but loyal to the core, and friendly, playful. Those kind of ideas come with this. Now, of course, if you're scared to death of dogs, you're not going to think of them as, loyal, friendly, playful companions. You're going to think of them as horrible, scary, what the heck, get away from me. So, um, love, of course, and swans mate for life. It's really interesting. Um, yeah, transformation, death on one's hand can be birth on rebirth, or death and rebirth. So transformation. Um, so think about these things too, whether or not you have a deck of cards in front of you, and through different mediums, or even if you have a deck of tarot cards, and I've used this concept once before. I'll show you. Hang on. I'm going to grab a different deck of cards. So, and of course, let me know if you want me to pull a card for you. I have the Angel Tarot deck. The inside, I think, is signed by Radley. This is my book. Yay! Because I used to, I volunteered for them a couple of times when they were here in Europe. I volunteered for them in Salzburg and in Zurich. So off sometimes. Anyway, so some of the cards are a little skeevy in here, but it's still a deck that I love. And here's me with the angels again. But anyway, here we go. So I was wondering if I should take another class. Like there was some training going on. And if you don't know me, I'm like a compulsive learner. So I love taking courses and I love learning new things. And that's just something that appeals to me a lot. So I was thinking about taking this other class, probably a business class or something. And I pull the balance card. Now, this is a card of moderation and, kind of give and take, and, patience as well. And so I was like, okay, that is one example of the meaning of the card. But the other thing is, if you check out these irises around the side of the deck. Now, in my front yard, I have like a little island next to the street that has blue irises, like this color blue irises. And there are so many of them that bloom in the summertime, like in late July, that really I do not need any more irises. So that to me triggered the understanding that I didn't need to take this class because I already had enough. And these irises were an indication, or, like an association for me that I didn't need it. I didn't need to take the class. So think about things like that when you're thinking about, number one, if you need a sign and you don't have a deck in front of you. Number two, when you're learning to read tarot, when you're learning to read Lenormand, when you're learning any kind of divination system, a lot of times, or when you're looking at spirit guides and things like that, a lot of times the energy of, or the meaning of a symbol is associated with, number one, personal experience with a topic. So for me, for example, the fact that I had so many irises. Number two, the characteristics of the plant, animal, or even building or whatever. Took a walk today with my dog, and picked up an acorn. So acorns, they say to keep an acorn in your pocket. It's a good luck charm. It helps to block negative energy from you. You don't see them really. Trying to think if you see them except in the fall time, but they are fall symbols. And then also an acorn, if you think about it, the acorn can be, go up there. There is nobody hurting in my house. My son is just playing a game and he's screaming. So back to the acorn. The acorn is the seed for an oak tree. So it is the symbolism or a symbol of a new idea that needs to be planted in the ground, needs to be nurtured and given the time, and then it can grow into a mighty oak tree. So if I'm thinking about something, and sometimes, like, seriously, you'll be like, I've never seen oak leaves here before, and you'll look around and you're like, where's the oak tree? And why am I seeing oak leaves here? And then I'm just like, it's a sign. So I hope that makes sense what I'm talking about here. So if you're like thinking about something, you're wondering if it's wise if I do X, Y, or Z, and then you see the oak leaves there, either the oak leaves on the ground or a picture of oak leaves, or just randomly, and it does come up like that. Like you might think it's weird that I'm talking about it, like it'll come up so randomly like that, but it does for sure. So let me know if you want a card if you're here, and then we will pull a card. I think the two of air. Like, yeah. Anyway, I was just gonna start complaining about like all of the stuff that's going on, but I'm not gonna do that because it's just really weird. So we're in this phase right now where I think it's important for us always, it's not even a phase. I think it's important for us, each of us, to learn to work with and understand our intuition, because unfortunately there are a lot of people in the online community. There are a lot of really, really great readers and healers with super integrity, super high standards, super, helpful people who are always working on their craft and to better themselves and to create sessions with their clients that are focused on their clients' highest and greatest good. And then there are a subsector of our whatchamacallit, our community, if you want to call it that, the fringe of the community, who are just, they're either stealing other people's IDs and trying to pass themselves off as being readers, or they're in it for like the financial side. They're not ethical readers. So I think it's important, or, they're just going through a day. You're not going to connect with every single reader that you get a reading from. And that's important to remember. We have bad days just like everybody else. So if something is going on in my life where energetically, I'm not in an aligned and protected space, then my readings might suffer if I go to do a reading. And like I said, I do think it's important for people to learn how to read for themselves, to learn how to make decisions for themselves, to learn how to lean into their intuition, tap into their intuition, and get messages from the world around them, because that's the empowering thing. Working, like I said, just sometimes you need to make decisions in your life that other people might not approve of or might not fully understand, or you might not be fully open with your reader. And so it's important for you, like I said, to learn to lean in, listen to the way that messages come through for you. So sometimes it's going to come through feeling. My mom always said, listen to your gut. If you get a stomach ache, or if you feel tense and crampy when you're thinking about something, then it's definitely a no. or if you just get this joyous, relaxed feeling where you had been tight and worried and everything, and then you think about something, or something comes along and an opportunity comes up and you're just like, yes, say yes to the yeses and no to the nos. And then there's also these like random things um, like I was saying, just animals that appear, numbers that appear to you. So like the 1111 is always like that magical start of everything. It's like a tap from your spirit guide saying, "Hey, we're here. It's about time to up level." So or 222 is, just the duplicity, duality, black and white. You have a decision coming up that you need to make. Sometimes opposites attract. In tarot, a lot of times twos are associated with relationships to one another, choices, decisions, um, partnerships, romantic relationships, friendships, things like that. So, and then threes, like if you go through it too, and if you learn it from the perspective of like personal development as a part of the major arcana, and then like regular life things as part of the minor arcana, then the numbers of the cards make sense in a way. And then also, when you're learning to read cards or when you're looking for symbolism, also look at placement. Because if you can see, like this card, the Hierophant, is about dogma and religion. Um, hey, Sandy. Let's see. Looks like it might be a little while, actually. I, you know what? When the Four of Cups comes up, it does look like, and you're asking if I see somebody coming into your life for a romantic partnership. It looks like there might already be somebody there, but you're just not interested in them. So they kind of bore you. You might want to wait a little bit. And I also feel like there's something right now that you need to kind of work on within yourself. When the moon comes up, it's really about, kind of embracing all of the parts of you, the dark and the light, and bringing everything up to the surface. So I really, between these two cards, I think it's going to be a time for reflection and a little bit of work on yourself. There are people in your sphere right now who are interested in you, but like I said, you're not interested in them, and that's okay. So I would say it's going to be a little while before you meet somebody. And I would say it's probably going to be, spring to summertime, just to let you know, Sandy. So hope that helps you out. And okay. I'm all like, and then I kind of get a little bit going when I got the cards in front of me, because part of the thing, well, the Hierophant keeps coming up. They want to come up. So we were just talking about the Hierophant. You're welcome, Sandy. I hope that helps you out. So sometimes it's okay to be, it's kind of funny. Okay, sometimes it's okay to be alone for a while and to take that time off of relationships so that you can work on yourself. And it always seems like once you get into that space where you're just like, I'm so happy, I can deal with this single life, then the universe is going to send you those romantic partner possibilities. And sometimes they're going to be laced with lessons for you. So just make sure. And that's why that healing comes in handy, and that time in between relationships, that you reconnect with yourself and you figure out what your priorities are. You work on your self-worth, you work on healing, work on reestablishing friendships, perhaps, or getting into a place where you feel more aligned with yourself. Like, so that, a partnership, I'm not even going to open that can of worms right now, because I was just thinking, a lot of times with partnerships, it is security. It is, kind of um, once you get into a relationship, sometimes the rest of the world ceases to exist, which is okay for a moment. But ultimately, you do want to make sure that you're maintaining um, an individual presence and taking care of yourself and your self worth, and that you don't lose yourself in the relationship, especially for women. Especially when you have kids, and especially those things, because a lot of times you're going to lose aspects of yourself in motherhood simply because you shift, like your whole life shifts. You go from being pretty much in charge of only yourself to being in charge of little people and trying to raise them in the best way possible. um, but relationships, it's really important to, like I said, to maintain friendships, to maintain hobbies, and um, things that you love that aren't the same as what your partner has, like not to lose yourself, like I said. So, um, but like I said, that's a thing for another day, a topic for another day. And I wrote something about it. I wrote an essay about it in the book, We Are All Made of Love, and you can find that on Amazon. It's like there's, it's a multi-author book. And so you can pick it up on Amazon. Like I said, I think it's under Andy Eigenram's name. So, oh, that's one of the books that I'm have some essays in. I think I have 3 in that one. So right now the veil is thin, and I was going to talk about that because we're talking about leaning into your own intuitive senses and really focusing. Like, one of my strongest clairs is being clairaudient. So I hear messages, and sometimes I hear them in songs. Like, it's just like, you know, out of the millions of songs that I could hear when I'm walking through the grocery store and I need a sign, I hear the one song with the exact message that I need to hear that day that helps me get through or resolve a problem. That's clairaudient. Another clairaudient thing is like audio hallucinations, which I've had before, which is kind of interesting. I had like a um, a really big voice in my ear one time that says, "Totes Unfall." I think I talked about this last week. Um, and there was a bad accident on the highway that's kind of by my house. So it was really weird. And sometimes those will come through. Sometimes you'll hear snippets of conversations that are either exactly what you just wrote on your computer, or something, that key that goes on to the next, that takes you to the next place, or has that really good piece of information that you needed to hear. So, hi, Marcel. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if you would like me to pull a card for you, and I will. When I'm working with Reiki, that's totally like not only a thing about, like tapping into a few different, like all of the information that comes through at one time. And I'm sure if you either read cards or you do psychic work or you do Reiki, you understand what I'm talking about. Like, there's just this information flow that starts coming through. So you start either feeling things with your hands or with your body in certain places, and that is clairsentient from what I understand. And this is like when people are going through a ghost, a haunted house, or a house that has entities and energies. This is the shoves. This is the feeling of somebody, touching you or touching your hair. Um, but like I said, these are different ways that it manifests itself or experience itself, or you would experience it if it was a clair that you have. Um, Yeah. So I was just saying hi to Marcel. Let me know if you want me to pull a card for you. Clairvoyant, that's a really interesting one too, because I know like this is part of it, like part of working with your psychic abilities and part of tapping into this veil that's thinning right now, is figuring out what your strongest clair senses are and leaning into those. And right now is the time to do that, because right now, kind of the the space between the worlds right now, between the earth and whatever dimensions are here available to us and whatever entities are here and available to us, it's more accessible to us, it's more obvious, it's more open, we're able to tap into that a lot more quickly and easily right now. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you all about this. So Marcel, whew, you got some work to do, but it seems like you're avoiding it for some reason. And, it seems like it might be like a just overwhelm, exhaustion, kind of done with everything. But it also might be like time to pause and reflect on how far you've come and see if there's any details that need to be sorted in this work from, adding things into the mix that might have been missing, and you might have missed them because you were so busy, kind of narrowing your focus down doing the work, that you weren't able to see the big picture of what was going on. So I would say right now, do step back and take a break, get a breath of fresh air and really kind of figure out, okay, is this a thing about burnout? Is this a thing about lack of, kind of interest in the project? Or is this something where I need to go back and seed in, like I said, those fine details and work on the small details that have been missing from this thing, so that you can make it as robust and beautiful and rich as you had wanted it to be. And like I said, it might just be that you're exhausted and you need to take a break. And once you get that break, then you'll have the second wind and you'll be able to go back into the project with new ideas and a new zest for it. And then it will, especially if it's a money making thing, because that was a Pentacles, um, then it might bear that fruit, or you might end up with the physical manifestation that you were hoping to get out of it. But I almost feel like it's an art project or something like that. Not art project in like a creative project. So yeah. Yeah. And focus on what is there and what's not on what's missing as well, Marcel. I feel like sometimes you drive yourself to the brink because you're like focused on what it, you're not in the moment, you're in some other moment. And if you're always in the future, um, it's not going, you're not there yet. So don't worry about it. Don't push yourself too hard. Don't push yourself to the point of exhaustion with this work that you're doing. Hope that helps you out, Marcel. So going back to, just when the veil is thin, leaning into your clear gifts and understanding that your gifts are going to manifest in the way that they do. And, I, I can say that I was a child of the 70s and 80s, and there were some scary shows on TV back in the day. And so, I didn't want a full on manifestation of a spirit that had passed on in front of me. So I would have probably blocked myself from fully seeing into other realms or into, you know, full on, I didn't want to see ghosts, basically. Let's just put it that way. Nowadays, I'm a little fascinated by it. And you do know, like, there's different levels of what you'll see. And some people do see like full manifestations or full impressions of a person, or they see that in their mind's eye. So it's like a mind movie. Ah, and I'm hoping, for those of you who watch my podcast or listen to my podcast, I'm hoping to get a woman on there who does remote viewing. I started reading her book, and this is something that's fascinated to me because when you get a hit, when you get into that space, like, yeah, it's just really, really interesting. And it is something that they've experimented with in the military for remote seeing so that they could, psychically enter, military planning rooms and things like that, kind of like 11 in Stranger Things. But not everybody is trained in being able to remote view. Some people, like I said, like myself, have stronger clairs in other sensory areas. And, it's not to say that I don't have clairvoyance, because sometimes I do get visual impressions of things. Like I get the sparks, I get the shadows. I also watched like a little portal open up next to my friend one time, which was really interesting because she's also a spiritual person. She's a tarot reader. It was Alexandra, who I do the tarot and horoscopes with once a month. And so those things are really interesting. But sometimes you want your you want your psychic sense, you want your psychic gift to be one thing, but it's something else completely. And so you don't necessarily believe you have a psychic gift because it didn't show up in the way that you were hoping it would, or you're doubting it because it's so simply obvious and there that you kind of doubt that. So what I would like to encourage you to do, especially during the time right now where the veil is thinning and where there is this opportunity for us to kind of transcend the worlds, do some experimentation, get a journal out and do some free writing. If you have a loved one who's passed on that you want to connect with, start a conversation with them in your head and see what comes up. See if you start smelling cigarettes if they were a smoker. See if you start smelling their perfume around you. See if you start, experiencing their energy in your area, and then see if they'll communicate with and through you. I do recommend being careful about who you call into your space, and also making sure, when I'm working on things, they say never, never, what's that word? Never conjure what you can't banish. So like I am kind of a stickler about, so I'm a stickler about the energy of the people that I work with. I'm a stickler for the energy of other businesses that I'll work with. And I'm a stickler for the energy of the entities that I'll work with and allow into my space. And so I would encourage you, if you're going to communicate with other entities, to make sure, specifically ask for your grandmother, or ask for your aunt, or ask for your cousin or whatever, instead of just like, hey, who's out there giving me a message? And also, the other thing, there was a really beautiful quote in the Mary L. Guidebook that was just like, a lot of people automatically assume that entities or energies that are talking with them are demonic or whatever if they don't understand them. And I see this a lot, is kind of something that's coming up when I'm watching like these I used to not watch them for a while, but the ghost hunters and things like that, where they go into, like, you're just like, hey, you're a ghost hunter, you're supposed to know, and they're just like really jump scared and kind of like and I know it's probably the entertainment factor of everything, and just kind of making it scarier and more exciting for their audience. But I also think it's important for people who are doing that work, because there has been so much fear and so much prejudice in a way injected into working with psychic senses, in, like even hearing voices and things like that are considered to be audio hallucinations in some aspects. um, but when you get a message like that, like there's a deadly accident, and then you wake up and there's a deadly accident down the street, you're just like, okay, this makes sense in a way. So it's a thing about experimentation. It's a thing about trusting the messages as they come through. It's a thing about opening yourself up in a way, but being very cautious about, it's just like with people. Once you get to know somebody, or you're learning about their characteristics, you're learning about their personality, you're learning about how they interact with you. But some people, you just get a really strong impression of their energy, which is another thing that we're told is kind of like this side of hokey, but that we're kind of finding out is truth, because your whatever energy you are creating within yourself and radiating out into the world around you is, for a lot of people, very, they can feel it, they can perceive it, they understand it, just not by talking to you. Mary, I don't know why you want me to inbox you right away. um I don't know why. But anyway, so I think it's really important to kind of lean in and see what way your spirit guides, your angel team, the spirits around you talk to you. And because sometimes it's free writing. So if you get out your journal, you set your journal timer for 15-20 minutes. Mary, if you want, I can bring you on live. I can send you a link and you can do some readings too. I'm going to be doing these for about 10 more minutes. But if you would like to come on and do some readings, I would love that. Why don't you join me? Would you like me to send you a link? So Mary wants everybody to inbox her for a reading. So it's a party in Mary's inbox. I do encourage people to watch out when people go like really like I do encourage people to watch out when people say inbox me right now for a reading, because sometimes they're just like, oh my gosh, I got this message and you need to pay me $50 in order to get this message. And I can give you this bracelet and it'll protect your energy and it'll cost you another $150. So Mary, if that's what you're here for, well, but if you really want to do some readings, I would love to have you on. Why don't you DM me and let me know if you would like to be on the Spiritual Business Spotlight podcast, or if you would like for me to invite you on next Friday and you can do some readings for the crowd and share your gifts with everybody. So that was my child. He was screaming. He does that. He's playing video games. Very loud. So right now we were just talking about that, and I'm gonna wrap it up because I was like blah, 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 blah. Surprised I didn't need a drink. So when you're thinking about spirit signs, when you're thinking about, is it a sign? If it feels like a sign, it is a sign. If it's like something you've passed 100 times and you've never seen that angel picture, or that, dove, or that rat, for example, we were talking about rats earlier, take that into consideration. Especially things that fit so well, like that goldfish story that I was telling you about earlier that I knew was a sign. Um, be open to and trust your senses, not only sight, hearing, smell, taste, the tangible earthly senses, but trust those subtle senses, the feeling in your stomach that you get when you're thinking about a potential new job or a potential new partner. Um, trust that. I'm going to have to tell my son next time that he can't play his game. Um, think about it when you hear a song, the exact right song at the exact right time, and then you get a message. And, or if you've asked for a sign and you get a sign, then don't just ignore that and be like, well, maybe that was a sign. Maybe that wasn't a sign. Um, hey, Queasy. Sure. Do you have a specific question in mind, or do you want me to just pull a card for you? Like do a general card. So usually I do just one, but sometimes things come up and I see what else is going on. So yeah, just let me know if you have a specific question. Um, and remember too, your psychic senses, the more you work with them, especially right now, are going to be much more tangible. They're going to show up a lot more. And you're going to be able probably to perceive them a lot more easily. And the more you work with your intuition, the more you work with your psychic senses, yeah, I saw that, Ethan. I know. The more you work with those senses, the more that the stronger they'll get. And so it's really a thing about learning to use them and trust them and think about them as guides, is what they are. Queasy, it looks like you've got a lot on your plate right now. K-Weezy, sorry about that. It looks like you've got a lot on your plate right now. And this is something that you need to do and you need to carry. Nobody else can do this for you. And I feel like this passion project, because it is wands and wands are passion. So you decided to carry this by yourself. This is something that you need to take care of, that you have started working on, that you want to see happen. This is another one where I'm saying make sure that you take a break from time to time. Don't overwork yourself. Don't make yourself sick with work, because it seems like you want this so bad that you're willing to burn the midnight oil and do whatever it takes to do it. But whatever it takes includes giving up all of the things that you may have worked really hard for, health, relationships, things like that. So while you are carrying this burden, make sure that you are also keeping a pulse on your energy and recharging and eating properly, getting enough sleep, exercising, so that you can pick everything up and do it to the best of your ability and take it over the finish line and have it turn out way better than you had ever hoped or expected. So, and it does look like once you get this rolling and established, it's it's going to be like a breath of fresh air. It might be even that you can breathe new life into an old project and work on that and take it through to the finish line. But like I said, it is going to require work. It is going to require that you put the energy and resources into it if you want it to bear fruit. But like I said, since you are very passionate about it and it does look like you got a high level of motivation towards this, then you're going to be able to get it done. And it is going to take you to the next level like you'd hoped. So, therefore, I hope that helps you out, KWC. So, I'm going to get going. It's about an hour. It's been about an hour. So, it's the end of one cycle, the beginning of the next. And so I hope that this has helped you out. I do intend to put out a a little worksheet. Okay. Yep. Okay. So yeah, it does look like it's something that you're really motivated about and passionate about, and that you're going to take it to the next level. But really make sure that you have this balanced energy, and that you know when to push the gas, and you know when to let it coast, and you know when to reach out to other people to ask for help. But it does look like right now it's going to be something that you're carrying. So with that, I will let you go. I will see you next week. I have to see what the date next week is, because I think it's just me alone, and then the first Friday of every month. I'll see, because next Friday is the 30th. So I'll see if Alexandra is going to join me on the 30th or on the 8th. Um, but we'll see about that. So with that, I will let you go. If you all would like to get a reading, and a more elaborate personalized reading, I do live one-to-one readings either over Skype, Zoom, or even through Messenger. I will never reach out to you and say, hey, get a reading. I feel your energy. My ancestors told me to reach out to you and get a reading. I won't do that. You got to email me. And so I do half an hour and 1 hour sessions. Right now, I do have a special going on for a half an hour reading plus a half an hour Reiki. Reiki is really, really nice, especially if a lot of emotionally charged stuff comes up during your reading. Then what I can do is go in and balance your chakras and give you the energy that you need to remove blockages, to help you relax and unwind, and also, to recharge your energy to take you to the next level. So if you want to schedule an appointment, you can just DM me on Instagram or Facebook, or you can email me at sue@sueellis-saller.com, and I would be happy to set that up for you. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you all for joining. I'm so excited to see you here, and I hope to see you next week. And let me know if you have any topics that you'd like me to cover, as well as I am warming up and waiting for people to come in. I love to share, information with you about your clairsenses, about working with crystals or chakras, or just a variety of different topics. And I do have the Seekers group that's opening up again. It's $14.44 a month. We do a once a month deep dive, and then we meet every week and we talk about different things that are spiritually related, and working on building up your intuition and reading messages like I was just sharing with you earlier in this session. So I will put the link for that in the notes, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye.